It was an ambush.
How many did you save?
Just like a dream.
You did the only thing you could do. And you lost.
Like a dream.
Look, we're still in this thing.
The day you walked away.
But we have no idea what we're dealing with.
Unfortunately.
Things are getting worse around here, aren't they?
Boyd, we're out of food.
Too many things are changing. I have to remember.
Remember what?
What's missing?
It's rigged. Why can't they leave us alone?
No matter what this place throws at us, we're gonna find our way home.
Everybody just talks about how afraid they are of dying. Well, I don't think that's the worst thing that can happen to you here.
Hello?
Like a dream.
You looking for these?
Into my life.
You can't save them all.
But things are really how they used.
Along the shore, the cloud waves break. The twin suns sink beneath the lake. The shadows lengthen in Carcosa. Strange is the night where black stars rise, and strange moons circle through the skies. But stranger still is lost Carcosa. Songs that the Hyades shall sing, where flap the tatters of the king, must die unheard in dim Carcosa. Song of my soul, my voice is dead. Die thou, unsung, as tears unshed, shall dry and die in lost Carcosa.
Welcome, one. Welcome, all. Has Father Cautry been telling the truth this whole time? Is Boyd truly broken? That is the question we are going to be diving into tonight, along with many other Season 4 predictions and theories. But I've been thinking a lot about Boyd's storyline in Season 3. And some of the psychological torment that he was really put through this season. He was really put through the ringer from start to finish, starting, of course, with the horrific, tragic, heartbreaking death of Tien Chen at the beginning of the season, to him doing everything he can and possibly crossing a few lines in the process, trying to save Fatima. Boyd certainly had a very trying season in Season 3, and I think Season 4, I think it is going to carry over into Season 4, and I think we're going to see maybe a little bit of a different Boyd, maybe a Boyd that is going to be second-guessing himself a little bit more, maybe a little unsure of his decisions. That's one thing that I've always really enjoyed about the character of Boyd. Even when he makes a mistake here and there, he's always very confident in himself. He projects that strength even in times of doubt. But after the events of this season, after everything that Boyd has been put through and some of the decisions that he himself has made, I mean, not the least of which being the Elgin situation, which I think a lot of us kind of didn't mind it, but knowing Boyd, knowing the kind of person Boyd is and the moral compass that he has, I have to imagine that the conversation that Boyd had with Father Cautry in the finale about him crossing this line and that being an indication of this place actually winning. I think that is going to be very prevalent in Boyd's mind in Season 4 and beyond as he tries to come back, as he tries to recover from this psychological torment that Fromville put him through in Season 3. I think we're going to see a very, very different Boyd in season 4, ladies and gents, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. But welcome one, welcome all to Fromville Saturday. So good to see each and every one of you here this evening as we dive into all things Fromville Season 3 and, of course, looking ahead to Season 4. And I want to hear from each and every one of you, what are your predictions heading into the 4th season? What storylines are you looking forward to the most in Season 4? I want to know what you guys think. See what we got in here. We got Fromville Fiend. What is up, Fromville Fiend? Good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Got Mike Schreiber in the building. What is up, Mike Schreiber? Good to see you. Thomas on the phone said they're no longer your children, Jim. Wouldn't it stand to reason more kids would have to arrive so they could start sacrifices again? Now, that's a very interesting concept and one that I've kind of wondered as well, if we will ever see another sacrifice in this time period, or at least an attempted sacrifice, because we've been seeing one thing that's been very clear up until this point is history repeating, and now we're learning even more that it goes even deeper in terms of possible reincarnations of multiple other characters. Maybe we know Jade and, of course, Tabitha are two of the original parents of the original Ankui children. But what else is going on? Are there any other people that are reincarnations of previous iterations of that original timeline? And yes, as you mentioned, Mike, could we potentially see an attempted second sacrifice? I feel like it's very possible. What exactly maintains this immortality that these monsters have? Is it a one-time deal, or is this a sacrifice that they have to do each cycle, each reincarnation? Is there more than one sacrifice that we have to look out for? I think it's all possible. I think it's very possible. I think we could, just judging on everything we've seen and how history is very much repeating itself in very, very strange ways. Yeah, I don't think it's beyond, I don't think it's out of the question, I guess I could say, that there could potentially be another sacrifice. But if that is the case, like you mentioned, need some more children. We only got like what, one child in Fromville right now with Ethan. Yeah, they're going to need some more kids if that is the case. So I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for that. We will have to keep an eye out for that. But that's an interesting idea. Will there be another sacrifice at some point? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. Got Hollywood Pineapple in the house. What is up, Hollywood Pineapple? Good to see you. Yeah, they're definitely more monsters. I also wonder if they sacrificed those kids just for immortality, or were they put in a situation where they became desperate enough for that? I think it's a little more along the lines of that. I mean, it's hard. I feel like and I'm going to be breaking this down in my video that I will be dropping tomorrow on the channel, in terms of storylines that I think are going to be playing out in season 4 and where I think they're going. And I have a few ideas as to what exactly happened with this sacrifice, the dark sacrifice, I'm calling it. And I feel like there's certain evidence pointing to this thing being a little more malevolent. Maybe these parents were just looking for a selfish form of immortality. But then again, there's also the other side of that coin. As you mentioned, Hollywood Pineapple, was it a decision that they really didn't have a whole lot of choice in? Was it a desperation move, a do this or everybody dies kind of thing? So we can't really rule that out. As dark and as tragic as this child sacrifice was, I suppose we have to look at all of the angles. I mean, was it just done for selfish reasons to live forever on these parents' parts? Or, as you mentioned, was there a little bit more of a desperation angle to it? I feel like that's definitely at least worth exploring. So yeah, we will definitely dive into that as well. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Let me scroll up here. Let's see who else we got in this awesome, awesome chat. Let's see who else I see. I see. PM Philosophy. What is up, PM? Always awesome to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. PM Ravener and I had one of the funnest streams I've had in a very long time, diving into some Fromville Season 4, and of course, the Man in Yellow, and the strange connections that he seems to be sharing with the King in Yellow and Carcosa. And not just the Man in Yellow, the entire show of From itself. And we're going to be doing another one of those as well. We'll probably do another one this Thursday, where we will do part 2 of diving into all things the King in Yellow and how it relates to From, because we barely scratched the surface on that stream in terms of how many similarities the King in Yellow shares with From. So we'll definitely be doing a part 2 to that, and that should be a lot of fun. I am looking forward to that. Welcome, welcome, PM. We got Robert Saunders in the house as well. What is up, Robert? Always good to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. I hope you enjoyed the finale. I don't think I've heard Robert's take on the finale yet. If I have, I'm not remembering it, so I'm definitely looking forward to hearing some of Robert's takes on how you thought the season 3 finale went, and what did you think of some of the revelations? And that goes for everybody in the chat. What did you guys think of season 3 as a whole? Did you like some of the answers that we got? Were they definitive for you? Are you liking where the show is heading? Or are you not liking it? Of course, we want to know what you think. We want to know what everybody thinks. We got Joan R in the house. What is up, Joan R? Good to see you as well. Welcome, welcome. Got Giles Corey in the building as well. Welcome, Giles. Good to see you. Got Amy Cinnamon Sweets in the house. What is up, Amy? Welcome, welcome. Always good to see you as well. Always good to see you as well. We got Sitchy 3D in the house. What is up? Good to see you as well. We got JZ456. What is up? Hola. Right back to you, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Vanessa M in the building. What is up, Vanessa M? Welcome. I hope everybody is having a great start to your weekend. I hope you guys are enjoying the weekend and taking it easy. Having a nice, relaxful weekend. I know I certainly am. I know I am having a nice, relaxed weekend. We are on layoffs right now. I finally have a month or two to relax and catch my breath as work has come to a crawl up here in the winter months. Not much building can be done, unfortunately, in the winter up here in the Northeast. So I always have a good 2.5 months of downtime this time of year. And I very much look forward to recharging at this point. So it should be good. Looking forward to some time off. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We got Faith and Repentance in the house as well. What is up, Faith? Always good to see you as well. Hope you are doing swell this evening. Got Makira in the house. What is up, Makira? Good to see you as well. Good evening, peeps. Yes, good evening to you as well. Good evening to you as well. We got Joe Knows in the house. What is up, Joe Knows? Joe Knows, what's up? And I'm looking forward to hearing from each and every one of you guys tonight. What are you looking forward to for season 4? How did you like the season 3 finale revelations? Did you like the definitive answers that we did get? Looking forward to hearing from all of you. Got Soul Taker Dojo in the house. What is up, Soul Taker? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I bet Fatima situation will have a huge impact on Colony House. Yes, Sitchy 3D. I think the Fatima situation and, of course, by extension, Elgin as well, because they, of course, are both from Colony House. And we know how beloved Fatima was at Colony House. We could see that very clearly towards, in season 3. Especially Donna was very coming to the realization that Fatima means a lot to not just her, but to everybody in Colony House. She called, the light that she carried inside of her. And I think we saw a really good example of that, more so in season 1, before Fatima started kind of going down her tough path. But season 1 Fatima, you could really tell she kind of lit up the room every time she walked in the room. She was very much the life of the party at Colony House. She did really seem like she was the soul of that place. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of Fatima that we have in season 4, and will she be able to regain some of that light that she kind of exuberated as she walked through Colony House? Will she be able to find that season 1 Fatima again, or will the just insane psychological damage of giving birth to friggin' Smiley be too much for her? I mean, you could totally understand if that is something she might not recover from. That was a traumatic event. This seemingly immaculate conception where Fromville impregnated her with frickin' Smiley. I mean, how do you reconcile that? How the frick do you deal with something like that, like inside your head? I mean, yes, Fatima technically might not know she gave birth to Smiley until Boyd tells her. All she really saw was that pod thing she gave birth to. She doesn't really know what's inside it yet, but I imagine she will. And then again, she might already know anyway, considering that she kind of tapped into seemingly Smiley's memories as she was giving birth to him. So maybe Fatima might know more than even we do at this point. And that's something we've talked about here in the past, where I would be very surprised if Fatima doesn't have some latent connection to Smiley. Just the fact that she managed to tap into his memories while she gave birth to him, I wouldn't be surprised if there is still some kind of connection there that is established, some kind of way for Fatima and Smiley to be linked in some small way. And maybe even that link could be exploited by Boyd and the townsfolk to learn more about the monsters. But either way, it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of Fatima we have from this point forward. Will we see her recover, or will these events just be too much for her? I mean, you can understand it going either way, considering the severity of what she went through. But that'll be interesting to see. Where is Fatima going to go from here? Got Woodrow in the house. What is up, Woodrow? Good to see you as well. We got Dizzy Guy Explorers in the building. What is up, Dizzy Guy? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Got David in the house as well. What is up, David? Good to see you as well, my friend. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We got Christine Jellybean in the house as well. Welcome, Christine Jellybean. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. All right, let's see what we are diving into tonight. I'll be researching the series with the understanding that Julie can travel back in time and see if there are any other points she could have intervened. That's it, and that's exactly what we are diving into with our rewatch parties. And actually, tomorrow, that reminds me, tomorrow will be part 2 of our complete rewatch. We are going, like we do every season when a season ends, we like to go all the way back at the very beginning of the story and see what new kind of clues, what new kind of answers, like you just mentioned right here, Sarah, is a perfect example of that. What new kind of stuff can we see when we go back, when we rewatch seasons 1 and 2, with the added context of everything that we found out in the season 3 finale? Like you mentioned, the Julie Storywalker thing, that's adding a very interesting aspect to the show. And I think you're 100% right, Sarah. Going back and rewatching some of those earlier seasons in the earlier episodes, like I wonder what other stuff could she potentially already have affected that we just don't even know about yet. So that's a great idea, and something that we are definitely going to be looking forward to doing. And tomorrow we will be diving into season 1, episodes 3 and 4. Last week we did episode 1 and 2. Tomorrow we are doing episode 3 and 4. We're going to try and at least do 2 episodes a week. On some weeks we'll probably do maybe a little bit more than 2 episodes. If the watch party is going good and people want to watch a third, maybe we'll do 3 some weeks. But at the very least, we're going to be doing 2 episodes every Sunday night, starting right here on YouTube and going into the Discord for the watch party. But no, that's the perfect example right there, Sarah, of some of the things that we want to look out for when we go back on the rewatch. Now that we have this added context of getting these definitive answers about Julie, about Tabitha, about Jade, the man in yellow, we got a lot of interesting stuff in this finale, and I think it's going to make us, I think it's going to open up a lot of possibilities for some things that we might be able to find in some of those earlier episodes. So you're right on the money with that. That is an excellent, excellent idea indeed. A school bus showing up would be nuts. It would be. That would be nuts. I mean, the regular Greyhound style bus showing up in and of itself was nuts, but like an actual school bus full of children showing up here, that would be a freaking nightmare. That would just be an absolute nightmare. Because you know some of them are going to die. You know there's no possible way you're going to be able to save every single one of them. Screaming kids running all over the place. Good luck with that. That would be a nightmare. That would be an absolute nightmare if a school bus arrived. Man, oh man, oh man. Wow. We got Alvin Rogers in the house as well. What is up, Alvin Rogers? Good to see you as well. We got Luke Starkiller in the house. What is up, Luke Starkiller? I'm still hoping for a school. I'm hoping an old school train will pull up in Fromville. I really want that to happen as well, because we have been wondering, right? Like, what's up with the train tracks? We have seen very clearly that there are a set of train tracks leading into the town of Fromville. So a lot of us have always wondered, will we ever get to see those train tracks in use? If not in current time and maybe in a flashback. Was there a point in time where people arrived in Fromville via train at some point, for all we know? Who knows? We know based on the wall paintings, the paintings inside the cave. No, we don't know definitively, but there's at least an indication that people may have arrived to Fromville via boat at one point, as we see the boats kind of, the depiction anyway, of the boats arriving into Fromville. So what else is possible? I mean, if people arrived here via boat at some point, could people have arrived via train? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I guess anything's possible. I feel like the one thing I don't want to see. I would not mind a train showing up. I think that would be cool. I wouldn't even mind somebody showing up by boat if we end up finding a bigger, larger body of water that's connected to a bigger body of water somewhere. Up until this point, we've only really seen small bodies of water, ponds and lakes and such. But the only thing I don't want to see, because I feel like we're already treading way too close to lost territory in some circumstances. The one thing I don't want to see is a freaking plane crashing here. That's the one thing I just don't want to see. As much as I love Lost, and I do, I love Lost, great show, loved it from start to finish. But I already feel like From is already treading incredibly close to being way too similar to Lost as is. So the last thing I want to see on Fromville is a freaking plane crashing into this place. Anything but a plane. It's behind Christie's left shoulder on the wall. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. That's a good point. Early settlers starting or something and making a deal with the devil. Could it potentially be that something like that, something along those lines? I mean, I feel like when we hear the child sacrifice bit, when we see the shape of the Ankui children, and what kind of grisly sacrifice they seem to have been put through, I think we naturally kind of just think that these parents are just evil to their core, which they very well could be. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they did sacrifice their own children at the end of the day. But I think that's also a very interesting, at least, aspect to at least ask ourselves. Were there some extenuating circumstances, perhaps, that maybe forced these parents' hand into sacrificing their children? I know that's a little bit of a hard thing to accept, really, because I mean, it's your children. I mean, like, I couldn't imagine anything in the world pushing me to sacrifice a child, whether it was mine or somebody else's. Like, I couldn't think of anything in the world that would push me to do that, and certainly not death. I mean, kill me before I do something like that, straight up. But no, like you said, it's at least an interesting idea to explore as to what caused the parents to choose to do this sacrifice. Was it the man in yellow? Did the man in yellow worm his way into them, promising them this form of immortality, enticing them into doing this sacrifice? Or again, was it something a little similar as a deal with the devil kind of deal, where they were desperate for some reason? I don't know. But again, it's definitely at least an interesting idea to ponder. The guy drinking out of the skull was probably part of the immortality ceremony. Now, that's definitely a possibility. Yeah, that's definitely possible, I would say. Yeah. We have no idea. If seeing as Jade himself was seeing a vision of that, and now that we're seeing all of these connections and we know that Jade is actually a reincarnation of one of the original parents, maybe that could be a little more telling. Maybe that person drinking out of the skull, I mean, who knows? Maybe that was the original Jade, for all we know. Maybe Jade has been seeing past iterations of himself. Maybe Christopher isn't the only former Jade that he has seen. Maybe a lot of these people that Jade has been having visions of are potential previous iterations of him, going all the way back to the guy drinking out of the skull. Was he one of the regular parents? I tend to think he wasn't one of the regular parents because we haven't seen that character as a monster on the show, at least based out of all of the monsters we've seen up until this point. The person drinking out of the human skull hasn't been a monster. At least we haven't seen that monster anywhere on the show yet. But could that potentially have been the original Jade? I mean, that could make sense, I suppose. It would explain why we haven't seen him as a monster, and it could potentially explain why Jade is having visions of him. I know a lot of people think that that guy might be a reincarnation of Elgin's character because they both have a lost eye, but I need a little bit more to go on before I kind of take that leap. Them simply only having that seems like the only thing that Elgin and the person drinking out of the skull have in common is they both have one eye. Now, yes, it's an interesting feature, but I need a little bit more to go on until I can kind of say the person drinking out of the skull is a previous version of Elgin. If Elgin is a reincarnation of that person, I mean, them both only having one eye, it's just not enough evidence for me personally. I need some more similarities between the two before I can make that leap myself. But I would not be surprised, I mean, one bit though, if all of these people or most of these people that Jade is seeing were previous iterations of himself, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see what else we got. Fromville equals Sideways World and Lost. Boy in White equals Jacob. Unconscious Self. Man in Black equals Man in Yellow. Shadow Self. Also, the golden shadow, the pure gold hidden in the shadow. I mean, it's a lot of similarities, isn't it, David? Like when you look at Lost and you look at some of the themes that Lost set out, the good versus evil, the light versus dark, like you mentioned, Jacob versus his brother, the Man in Black. We're seeing so many of those similar themes play out here. And yeah, again, I don't mind a lot of the similarities, but I do want these to be two different stories in the end. So I don't mind some callbacks to Lost. I don't mind some kind of, some repeating themes here and there. But the core fundamental story of From, I'm really hoping it differs from Lost, a little bit more ways. I mean, obviously, there's a ton of similarities. You can't deny that. But I'm really hoping they start to kind of differentiate the two, because Lost was done already, and it was done, in my opinion, perfectly. I really enjoyed all of Lost, including the ending. I thought the ending was perfect, or as perfect as you can get for an ending anyway. But, that story's been done. Lost has been done as well as it possibly can be done. So I don't want to see Lost get done again in horror form. So I really do hope that these two stories, at the end of the day, do differentiate them from one another, and they're not too similar. Again, I don't mind some similar themes, some things that are very similar. I don't mind a little bit of that, but the fundamental core point of the story at the end, I hope it's a little bit different from Lost. Again, we don't need a horror version of Lost. We already got Lost. We need From to stand on its own merit, and that's what I'm hoping it will do. That is what I am hoping. We got Caitlin in the house. What is up, Caitlin? Good to see you as well. We got Bill D in the house as well. Welcome, Bill D. Good to see you as well, my friend. We got Michael DJ in the building. The monsters we see share similar time period clothing. Were they all created at the same time, or did they all get new clothing at the same time? That's another question that we've all been wondering. I mean, it is very weird how they all tend to be dressed in very similar time period clothing, all right there around from, it's all like 40s to 60s. Just about all of the clothing I've seen anyway could have easily fit in that kind of 40s to 60s, 1940s to 1960s time period. At least the clothes the monsters are wearing. We have seen some other clothes on some of these other characters and some of these visions that Jade has been having that certainly dates back a lot longer, whether it's the Civil War soldier or the guy drinking out of the skull. Definitely look like they date back a little bit further. But the monsters themselves are uniquely dressed in that kind of 40s, 50s, 60s era attire. And I've always wondered if that was a little bit more of a hint as to their origin, or at least the time of their origin. Because yes, we find out in the finale that the monsters were the original parents of the Ankui children, and how they sacrificed their own freaking kids in order to achieve some form of immortality. Only it seems like the immortality they received probably wasn't the immortality they were promised. Seems more like they were cursed in the long run to becoming these nightmare creatures. But it also stands to reason, or at least begs to question, I should say, when exactly did this happen? Because that's something we have been wondering for a long time. How old are the monsters, and how old is Fromville itself? And again, you look at the clothing on the monsters, you look at, and I thought not just the clothing, but one other detail that I thought was pretty interesting and telling as well, was the detail of the bracelet. And how Tabitha says in the finale that she had been remaking these bracelets over and over again in every generation. And you look at the design of that bracelet, and that design should easily indicate when the original Tabitha's timeline was. And based on the design of that bracelet, it certainly does not look centuries old. Just the very design of it, it looks a lot more modern. Not modern nowadays, but a lot more modern in terms of could have easily been a 40s, 50s, 60s thing. The bracelet that Tabitha has been making, or all of these Tabithas have been making, it certainly just it does not look like a bracelet that dates back centuries. It just does not look that old. And then you couple that in with the fact that the monsters themselves are all dressed in 40s, 50s, 60s era attire. Yeah, you have to wonder, when exactly did they make this sacrifice? And are these monsters maybe not as old as we originally thought? Because I always was under the impression that these monsters were very old, like super old. And Fromville itself was super old as well. And of course, they very well still could be. But learning what we now know, and after seeing some of these details, yeah, at the very least, it's worth asking the question: when exactly was this original timeline? How old are these monsters? When were the original parents human? Was it right there in the 50s or 60s? Or, as you mentioned, did they kind of upgrade their clothing along the way? I suppose they could have upgraded their clothing along the way, but if so, how come they haven't upgraded it since? They've been kind of stuck in this 40s, 50s, 60s kind of clothing for decades now. I mean, I suppose that could be because this cycle hasn't, the previous cycle hasn't really fully ended with Victor still being alive. I know many people believe Victor being alive is preventing the next cycle from fully starting, which is an interesting theory. But I myself personally, I don't know. I have no idea. I kind of go back and forth on it, but I guess I'll ask you guys that in the chat. What do you think? How old do you think these monsters are? Are they as old as we originally thought? Or given some of this new evidence, I mean, maybe are they a little bit not as old as we originally thought? Again, it's hard to tell. It's, part of me just, I have a hard time picturing the monsters upgrading their clothing. I mean, yes, they do like to take things from humans, but that seems more like it's a trophy kind of thing, taking mementos from their kills as opposed to taking things from humans to use themselves. But I suppose either or could be true. Maybe these monsters are centuries old. Maybe it does go back super, super far. Or maybe the 50s, 60s is when the monsters were really created. I suppose it could go either way. Could go either way. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. How old do you guys think the monsters are really? Do they date back centuries, or is it closer to the 50s or 60s? Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. I believe Miranda and Martin drew the Peach Truck back. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about Martin, but I definitely think Miranda did at the very least. I mean, I suppose Martin could be possible as well. And that's another thing I've always been wondering: was Martin a part of that 1978 time period, like Miranda and Christopher and young Victor and young Eloise? Was that the correct time period that Martin was stuck in Fromville? Or is Martin from a time period that dates back a little bit further? I tend to always thought he was from that kind of 1978 time period, right around there with Miranda. But then again, when you look at his tattoo, his marine tattoo, it dates back a lot older than that. So it's hard to know exactly what timeline Martin originally came from. Like when Martin was human, before he went through the faraway tree, before he got captured and had the worms put in him and all of that, where was his original timeline? Was it that 78 timeline, or was his what is his marine tattoo an indication that he's a lot older than that? It's really hard to know. But I do agree about the Miranda part, though. I definitely think Miranda was the one who started drawing that peach map. Victor might have continued it himself, like after Miranda died and after Victor being here for him by himself for so long. I imagine Victor probably started to fill in the map on his own, but I definitely think Miranda was the one who started the map. That I definitely agree with, for sure. For sure. Let's see what else we go. And yeah, the takeaway from Lost was to learn to let go. And so many people just did not really get the deeper messages and meanings of Lost. So I'm very glad that you did, David, because yes, that is the ultimate message behind Lost. That it's okay to let go. It's okay to not be. It's you don't have to be afraid to let go and move on. That's one of those deeper themes that Lost was creating, and that's why I love shows like Lost and like From, because yes, they have this really cool mystery aspect, but what these shows are really about are the journeys that the individual characters go on. These aren't mystery shows. Yes, they have very heavy mystery aspects to them, but these shows are about the characters ultimately, and it's not about the mystery. The mystery is just a plot device to propel the story forward at the end of the day. But the true story, the true point of telling these kinds of stories is to tell the journey that these characters are going on and what lessons they ultimately learn along the way. And as you mentioned, David, Lost, one of the main themes of Lost was learning to let go. And they really drove that home so beautifully in that final episode with that one scene between Jack and his father Christian in the church, where Christian finally kind of tells him why they're all here, why they were all brought together. So yes, I'm glad. Not. I'm glad at least there's other people out there that were able to see the really awesome themes that Lost was laying down. So good on you, David. I think they are sending the same message: how to let go and do shadow work, just in a horror setting. And that's what I'm honestly. That's a little bit what I'm afraid of. I just feel like we don't need another Lost in horror setting. I mean, maybe it's just me personally, but I'm really hoping that we're going to start seeing some other underlying themes and underlying messages. Because yes, a lot of stuff that we see in From is, yeah, you see a little bit of an aspect of some people needing to let go, letting go of their past lives, letting go of their fears, letting go of their guilts. And I think we're going to see a lot of that in season 4 in particular. Like with how bad season 3 was, I think we're going to see a heavy theme of characters either learning to let go of some of their guilt, let go of some of their pain, let go of their trauma being a huge theme of this show. And I think it's going to be interesting to see which characters are able to let go and which characters are kind of consumed by the guilt that they're going to be dealing with. Because we are going to have a lot of characters dealing with a lot of guilt and trauma going into season 4 based on some of the stuff we saw this season. But I really hope we start to see From differentiate itself a little bit more, because I just, again, maybe it's just me personally, but I don't want to see another Lost just in horror setting. I feel like that's a kind of cheap way to do this show at the end of the day. With how good of a cast they have and with how interesting these characters are that they are setting up, I'm hoping we start to see some other themes develop. Because we don't need another Lost. We need a new story. We got Wall Saint Tech for 567. Thank you so much, Wall Saint Tech. Towns do get lost, like Trask, Indiana, but the post office throws that off to me. Yeah, I mean, it's super interesting to see some of the aspects of the town, isn't it? Like you look at this, and not only the aspects, but you see like definitely a discrepancy in some of the time periods as well, where some of these buildings look very old that kind of date back to colonial times, like Colony House, for instance. Colony House is clearly much older than the rest of the houses that are in the actual town area. And then you look at the building that Father Kotri made his church out of, some of the ruins out there that we see in Fromville that are certainly much, much older. You start to wonder just how exactly did this thing come to be? I mean, was this town? I think the town aspect, the town part of it, the diner and all of that, I wouldn't be too surprised if all of that was pulled in when this entire townspeople got sacrificed and got turned into these monsters. Because one thing we saw very early on, not very early on, but one thing we saw with the season 3 finale was there are way more monsters than there are children to be parents of. I mean, we did hear that, yes, these parents sacrificed their own children to gain immortality and they got turned into these monsters, but there's way too many monsters for them to all be parents. I feel like that's very clear to see. So I always thought that maybe it was the entire town that got turned into monsters, and it seems like that is the case. I feel like that would also explain why we're seeing a lot of these monsters dressed in some of the clothing that they are dressed in. That's another reason why I have a tough time believing that they've upgraded their clothes along the way. It just seems a little weird if that's the case. I think it's a little more likely that this entire town was cursed when they did this sacrifice. And not only the parents got turned into monsters, but the entire town along with them, which could point a little bit into some of the other ideas that you guys were mentioning in the chat earlier, that maybe this was something the entire town was in on. Maybe it was just the parents who had children, but maybe the entire town was in on deciding to do this sacrifice. And maybe that's why the entire town in turn got cursed and not just the parents. Because again, there's just way too many monsters and not enough kids for them all to be parents. But no, I wouldn't be surprised if it was something along the lines of that, where the entire town was cursed and pulled into Fromville. That's why we see the diner and people dressed like they worked at the diner, like the waitress monster. That's why we see the post office, the school, all of these other aspects, the gas station. Not only the gas station, but the mechanic monsters that seem like they probably could have worked at the gas station. We're seeing like plenty of evidence, I feel, that is pointing to this entire town being pulled here into Fromville. Buildings, people, and all. Even down to some of the high school kind of aged monsters that we see with the Letterman style sweaters that they're wearing, very akin to kind of 50s, 60s high school. So again, I feel like we're seeing more evidence and more evidence for the monsters being right around that time period. I feel like there's more evidence for that than there is for anything else. But who knows? I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see. But thank you so much for the 567. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to learning some more about what is going on with this crazy town. What is going on indeed. And of course, what is going to happen with Smiley? Our good pal Smiley is back. And it's very interesting that Boyd, of all people, was the character to witness Smiley's rebirth, as Boyd was there when Smiley died. Death and rebirth, both witnessed by Boyd. So this is going to be a very interesting aspect to see, you know, how is Boyd going to deal with this? How is Boyd going to deal with the knowledge of knowing that, whoa, wait a minute, we can't kill these things. We can't fight back. If we kill another one of these things, what's to say this isn't going to happen again and somebody else in town isn't going to get plagued with this immaculate conception of rebirthing a monster? If these monsters were cursed to becoming what they are now, then maybe the curse is so strong that even death can't release them from said curse. So killing one of these monsters won't release them from the curse. It just means that they will get reborn again and again and again. Again, if the curse is that strong, which it seems to be like that might be the case, they can't even fight back now against these monsters. And that's going to be a very interesting aspect going forward, because that was one thing Boyd spent a good deal of time, not only in season 2, but in season 3 as well, is trying to learn a little bit more about the monsters so he could fight back. Boyd desperately wants to start fighting back against these monsters. He just doesn't quite have a good method to fight back against them yet, because he didn't have enough information. But after the events of season 3, after seeing that finale and seeing Smiley come back, I mean, I think that's going to be very interesting to see how Boyd is going to deal with that in season 4, knowing that, wait a minute, maybe we can't fight back. Maybe we can't kill these things. What's to say if we kill another one that Christy doesn't get pregnant this time, or Mari, or anybody in town, or hell, anyone really. Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting aspect to see how they choose to fight back going forward, knowing that they probably can't kill monsters because this whole Smiley incident. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. Boyd spent a lot of time trying to come up with some kind of plan to trap one of these monsters in hopes of interrogating it. And it seems like a lot of those plans are unfortunately going out the window now that Boyd is learning that they can't fight back. Need to amputate limbs and see if they grow back. on the monsters? It may be. I mean, I guess it's worth a try, right? Fuck. I guess it is worth a try. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, do these monsters have a kind of Wolverine style healing effect to them, a healing factor? I don't know. That's it's an interesting question, though. Yeah, cut off a few limbs and see if they grow back. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. It would be a fun scene to watch, if nothing else, but I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. I believe the story started with Miranda and Christopher, and that's how it all started somehow. But Victor is the main thing about the town. See, I don't think I don't think it's that recent. I feel like because one thing we did hear is that Miranda was having visions of Fromville, and not only visions of Fromville, but Miranda was having visions of previous chosen ones as she thought it that as she thought they were quote unquote chosen ones, but later on obviously we find out that they're not chosen ones. It's looking like Miranda was seeing previous iterations of previous reincarnations. So if Miranda was seeing all of these past versions of herself, it stands to reason that they were not the original timeline. And I don't think they were. I mean, I do think Miranda and Christopher are important to the story and very important to the cycle of things, but I think it goes back a little bit further than Miranda. I mean, again, I would be surprised if it doesn't go back to the again the 40s, 50s, 60s, or even way before that, maybe even centuries before that. But I don't think it's as recent as Miranda and Christopher. I don't think it started with them. I think they were just another incarnation along in a long line of reincarnations. I don't think they were the first though. I mean, I suppose anything's possible, but I feel like we have a lot of evidence pointing to Christopher and Miranda just being another reincarnation. Getting rid of Jim is odd. Yeah, I mean, Jim's death, and we talked a little bit about this kind of, and I know there's mixed feelings on Jim's death. I know there's a lot of people who don't like Jim, never liked Jim, and that's totally fine. I mean, that's the beauty of this show and this fandom. Everybody's free to like or dislike any character they want. But Jim was definitely one of those characters that was not a huge fan favorite, at least not in our chats. I can't speak to the entire From fandom as a whole, but at least here in our little neck of the woods, Jim was not a big fan favorite. He didn't have many defenders. Now, I wouldn't consider myself a Jim defender, but I certainly wasn't a Jim hater either. Like, I did see some of the good that was within Jim. I mean, yes, obviously, as I always said, he's definitely a bit of a knucklehead as well, and he certainly at times was not the best father, not the best parent, not the best husband even. But he was trying. He wasn't all bad. I did see some redemptive qualities within Jim in terms of the love that he held for his family, the fact that he would have done anything to protect them. Now, yes, he goes about doing those things in the wrong manner sometimes, where he's holding on a little bit too tight, as Henry put it. Henry kind of puts it very good in terms of like, yes, what you're doing is coming from a place of love, but you're trying to be way too controlling, Jim. You're trying to control every aspect of what your family does in hopes of keeping them safe. And as well as your intentions are, it's going to have a negative effect on your relationship with your wife, on your relationship with your children. You can't have that tight of a grip on things forever. You have to give people some freedom and give them some room to explore things on their own. And that was something that Jim had a tough time in grasping. He held on way too tight. And as you mentioned earlier, David, that this could also fall into the whole letting go theme. Jim very much needed to learn to let go, to let go of that grip of his on his family for a little bit. It felt like he was trying to maintain this iron grip over his family to keep them safe. But in doing so, he was alienating his family and he was creating problems within his family and his marriage. So letting go was a huge, huge theme for Jim in season 3, I felt. And it took him a while. But by the time we got to the end of season 3, Jim finally did learn how to let go a little bit and how to learn to give Tabitha her space, to be a little bit more of a receptive father and not the controlling and domineering type that he tried to be at times in the past. So in terms of, like you mentioned earlier, the themes of letting go that are very similar here and from just like Lost, I feel like Jim's a really good example of that in season 3. Jim finally learned how to let go a little bit, and then ultimately it cost him his life. So I felt a little bad for Jim in the end. I mean, again, he was never my favorite character, but I was never a big Jim hater. I did kind of always felt like his character was going somewhere interesting. So I did feel a little bit bad for Jim in the finale, because you see that he just gets hit with gut punch after gut punch, and then literally gets his throat ripped out, all within the span of a single day. So I felt a little bad for him. Again, you start with episode 9, and Jim finally coming to the realization that he needs to, again, let go a little bit. And not just with his family, but in his regular social life as well. I mean, I feel like his conversation with Randall was another really good indication of Jim kind of growing and evolving a lot as a character. Season 1, Jim would have ran into that room kicking and screaming, trying to fight Randall for spending time with Julie in the woods alone. But season 3, Jim had grown up a little bit. He had evolved a little bit, and he was at the point here where he wanted to communicate with Randall in hopes of being a better father. Ultimately, I mean, he knew Julie was going through something very traumatic. He knew Julie wasn't talking about it, and he also knew that Randall went through something very similar that Julie went through. So him going to Randall in that moment in a calm manner and not in a big angry state, that was very telling for how much he was already growing as a character in and of itself right there. And ultimately, he comes to Randall with hopes of trying to learn more about Julie so he can be a better father. So you got to see this really good character development from him. And that's always a trope within shows like this. I mean, we've seen Game of Thrones do it, House of the Dragons done it, Sons of Anarchy. So many, just about every show that's ever killed off a prominent character has done something similar like this, where you get a really, really good moment of just good character development with a character really growing and really showing strides at changing. That can sometimes be telltale signs that that character is not long for this world. And we've seen it happen time and time again. Writers tend to do that with characters, where if they are going to kill a character off, especially a main character that's been established for a while, writers tend to give those characters some really good scenes before they kill them off. And those really good scenes usually come in the form of some really good character development, just like we saw here with Jim, getting some good character development and then getting snuffed out. Just like we saw with Rhaenys in season 2 of House of the Dragon, very similar. Just like we saw with I was just about to spoil a big death from Shogun. I'm glad I didn't. Which reminds me, we are going to be starting a Shogun watch party tonight. Actually, as soon as this stream ends, we are heading into the Discord, and we are going to be starting part 1 of our Shogun rewatch party. Now that From is over, and obviously we are going to continue to do our From watch parties every Sunday night, but over the next few weeks, every Saturday night, we are also going to be doing some Shogun watch parties. And I'm looking forward to it. It's been so long since I've seen Shogun, and any of you out there, if you have not seen Shogun, I highly recommend joining us on these watch parties, because this is a show that anybody who's a TV lover, anybody, not even a TV lover, anybody who just likes good stories, good writing, good acting, this is a show that you need to see. Shogun, in my opinion, is the best show that has come out in maybe a decade, maybe more. As much as I love From, and I love From, it's definitely my favorite show. Shogun was definitely the best show, though, to come out in a very long time. And that is in large part thanks to Hiroki Sanada as the lead in the show, as Toranaga. Just awesome show. Again, it's even if you're not into the whole feudal Japan samurai kind of lifestyle, even if that isn't your thing, the show is worth watching just for how well put together it is in terms of the writing, the acting, the directing, the set design. It is so immersive, and it gives you the most accurate look at feudal Japan ever. I mean, there's not a single production out there that you will see a better and more in-depth, accurate look of how the samurai actually lived. People think about samurai and all they think about is the warrior aspect, the katanas and the honor and the fighting, but that is just a very small fraction of who samurai really were. They were so much more than just warriors. And this show really showcases all aspects of that. So tonight, after the stream ends at midnight, an hour from now, we're going to end the stream just before midnight, and we are going to be heading into the Discord, and we are going to be starting our Shogun watch party with season 1, episodes 1 and 2. And yeah, I hope you guys come to. I hope some of you come and join us, because again, it's even if samurais aren't your thing, it is such a good show. It's one of those shows that I feel everybody should see at least once. It's one of those things you got to experience, I guess. But back to From, awesome. Yeah, PM, I'm looking forward to you seeing it, and I think because you also have a really good eye for some good storytelling, and I was surprised that you actually hadn't seen Shogun. But I'm looking forward to getting some of your takes on it, because I think you're going to find some interesting themes and some really, really good writing and acting in this show. So yeah, anybody who wants to join us for the Shogun Watch Party, all are welcome. And thank you to Paul Miss Shelby, our very own BK, who will be hosting the Shogun Watch Party in the Discord every Saturday night. And very much appreciate that, my friend. This Shogun Watch Party kind of just developed organically. And I saw it, Hostman. I didn't miss it. I'm actually going to pull it up right after this little Shogun disclaimer. I promise I didn't miss it. And it kind of just developed organically, where we were kind of just talking about really good acting in the Discord the other night and which performances kind of really stood out. And I instantly thought of Shogun and Hiroki Sanada's Toranaga. I think we were talking about which performances were snubbed from award shows, as unfortunately the brilliant Scott McCord as Victor got snubbed yet again and didn't get nominated for Best Supporting Actor, which is just criminal at this point. I mean, you look at some of the shows that were on in 2024 and some of the acting performances, it's hard to find many acting performances that were better than Scott McCord as Victor. Like, he was that freaking good. The fact that this guy is continuously getting snubbed year in and year out, it's a little disappointing, and it's a little disrespectful, I must say. I'm super glad for the other From nominations. There were a couple other From nominations, and these are just the Saturn Awards. It's not really anything big. It's not the Emmys or Golden Globes or anything like that. It's just the Saturn Awards. But it does look like From is up for Best Horror, and it also looks like Elizabeth Saunders, Donna herself, is up for Best Supporting Actress. Now, that one I can get behind. I feel like Elizabeth Saunders was another one of the actresses that was definitely getting snubbed every year and not getting nominated for Best Supporting. Donna freaking kills it. Every scene that Liz Saunders does is really good usually. So she's definitely one of the stronger actors on the show, at least in my opinion anyway. I feel like she's one of the stronger actors. So she got nominated, and it looks like Julie, Hannah Chermy herself, actually. It looks like Julie is also getting nominated for Best Up-and-Coming Young Actress, I believe it was. Something along those lines. Let me see. I got them here. I got some right here. Let's see what we got. Let's take a look. Because this is something we we don't pay too close attention to it, but it's always something to kind of make note of. Award shows these days, it seems like they are less and less based on actual merit, where some of the really, really good shows just don't really even get considered some years, including some of the really, really good performances. But this year, From is at least getting a little bit of recognition, and not as much as they deserve, but they're getting a little bit. Let me pull this up here. Let's see what we can see. Let's see what we can see. If this will ever freaking load, I must say. Well, until it loads, I will just read it off. From TV series Saturn Award nominations: Best Horror Television Series. So From is up for Best Horror, which is good. I mean, they definitely should be nominated for Best Horror Series in every award show, as far as I'm concerned. But again, these award shows, they don't mean a whole lot these days. Best Younger Performer in a Television Series: Hannah Chermy as Julie. There it is, right here. Best Younger Performer in a Television Series: Hannah Chermy. So Julie got nominated for a Saturn. The show overall got nominated for Best Horror. We got Best Supporting Actress in a Television Series: Elizabeth Saunders. So it's good to see Donna get a nod. I mean, again, Donna is definitely one of the better actresses on the show. Liz Saunders, anyway, definitely kills it. And then, of course, we have Best Actor in a television series: Harold Perrineau, Boyd Stevens himself. So yes, From getting a little bit of recognition, but nowhere near as much recognition as they deserve. Let's see, we got Hostman, and again, thank you so much, Hostman, for the $4.99, my friend. I see dead people in Maine from season 4, probably. Just kidding. There was a cloning machine. I mean, speaking of season 4 in general, it's a little bit of a disappointment knowing that we have a really long wait before we get season 4. It's looking like it's going to be, again, probably a good 16, 18 months before we see season 4. And it sucks that it's going to be that long, but unfortunately, it looks like that's the case. Now, I get why it's going to be so long. It looks like they don't want to film season 4 during the dead of winter in Nova Scotia. They went through that for season 3, and it was absolute hell for them. Trying to film season 3 was a nightmare for them, filming up there in the Nova Scotia winter with all of those harsh conditions, which was one of the main reasons why they wrote a lot of the snow into the actual show. They just couldn't get rid of it. They could not beat back the snow fast enough, so they ended up just writing it into the show. So I imagine that's one of the reasons why we're going to have a very long wait for season 4, because it looks like they're not even going to start filming, probably not even until the spring, maybe even summer, for all we know. But one thing's for sure, they certainly are not in a rush to start filming season 4, at least while it's still cold. And I get it. They don't want to go through another really painful and arduous shoot. Like it looked like it was really tough filming season 3, just based on some of the behind the scenes stuff. If anybody, if any of you were following their Instagram and stuff like that, they were posting a lot of things during the filming of season 3, and you were constantly seeing posts like, "Oh, shut down, production shut down for the day. Wind's too strong, yada yada." Like they were constantly getting shut down and not even allowed to film because the conditions were so bad. So filming season 3 was really tough for them, and again, that's because they filmed right during the middle of winter. At that point, the writers and actors strike was going on, and by the time the strike ended, it was the middle of winter. So they thought, we either wait another 4 months and be delayed even longer, or we go right now and try and film during the winter. And again, I got to give them at least credit. They did the tougher choice. They went and they filmed during winter when they could have waited. But it seems like after filming season 3 during the winter and seeing everything they went through, looks like they do not want to go through that again. So I imagine they're probably not going to even start filming until at least springtime. It definitely won't be before springtime. Could be maybe even summer as well. And so that means we're going to have, unfortunately, a very long wait for season 4. Again, probably a good 16, 18 months from now until we actually see it on our screens. Sucks. It sucks. Yeah, it's nothing like sunny California, right, PM? I mean, you're 100% right. Nothing like the sunny side of California. But thank you so much, my good pal, Hostman, for the super chat. Oh, where is it? Hostman's Lounge. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Hostman's Lounge. And I owe you a whoa. Whoa! Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Yeah, it's not sunny California, unfortunately, up there in good old Nova Scotia. Good old Nova Scotia. While we wait, yes, absolutely. That's absolutely right, Bougie Barbie. And we're actually going to be talking a little bit about that here in a little bit because I do have the season 3 trailer queued up for us to take a look at. But yes, as Barbie says, while we wait, there is a great show called Yellow Jackets that has 2 seasons out already, and season 3 starts February 2025. Yes, February 14th, Valentine's Day, actually. Yellow Jacket season 3 is going to premiere, and they just dropped their season 3 trailer today, and it looks good. It freaking looks good. Yellow Jackets was a show that had been recommended to me for a very long time. I never really had a chance to get into it. It just didn't look like it was my kind of show, and boy, was I wrong. I was absolutely wrong. If you are a From fan, you'll probably really like Yellow Jackets. They're very similar in tone, and they both have that very interesting, ambiguous mystery aspect to them. So if you're a fan of From, I would highly recommend checking out Yellow Jackets because we are definitely going to be covering Yellow Jackets here on the channel. When season 3 does eventually drop in February, we will be doing episode breakdowns and we'll be doing some live streams on it as well, just like we do for all the other shows that we cover here when we go really, really deep in depth. So yes, episode breakdowns and live streams and live reviews for Yellow Jackets season 3 will definitely be coming. And I'm actually working on a trailer breakdown. I'm going to try and have that up probably not tomorrow because tomorrow is going to be my the next From video I am doing. So be on the lookout for that. I'm taking a look at season 4 storylines that I am most looking forward to in season 4. But I am also breaking down the season 3 Yellow Jackets trailer, and I should have that video up probably by Tuesday the latest. But yes, Yellow Jackets is coming right around the corner. We got some other good shows as well, like Severance. Severance just dropped some interesting footage for their upcoming season. I've been getting so many requests to cover Severance. Like a lot of you have reached out and asked me to do some Severance content, and I'm down. I'm definitely down. I am currently watching Severance right now. I'm only a few episodes in, but I'm already really enjoying it. It definitely seems like it is a it's a very smart show. Whoever wrote Severance was a freaking genius in terms of some of the writing, some of the dialogue, some of the themes that show weaves in and out. Again, I'm only a few episodes in, but you can just tell it's a very smart show. So I'll definitely be doing some Severance stuff as well. But yeah, we got some good shows to look forward to while we wait for season 4 of From, and some of the other really good shows that we'll be covering here on the channel, like Night of the Seven Kingdoms when that comes out. Yellow Jackets, Shogun Season 2 when that comes out. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to be diving into. So don't you worry. And of course, we will be keeping the From content coming. As long as you guys are down to talk From, we will definitely be here talking From for as long as you guys want to. And speaking of, this is a really good question from PM Philosophy, and I would love to get everybody's take on this in the chat. I'd love to know what you guys think because there really are so many good Victor scenes to choose from, so I would love to know which ones you guys pick. But as PM asks, what is your favorite Victor scene? Mine is, I don't know how to get home. PM, you got me. You got me, PM. Yes, my friend, that is, man, again, there's so many good Victor scenes to choose from. Like, this is why I really feel like Scott McCord is one of the best actors working in television right now. The character of Victor that he managed to craft was just so freaking phenomenal. But yes, what were some of your favorite Victor scenes, guys? Let us know down in the chat. What was some of your favorite Victor moments? And even if it's not of season 3, it could be of any season, season 1, season 2, or season 3. We want to know what were some of your favorite overall Victor scenes. Let us know.
It's okay. Everything's okay.
get home. I didn't know how to get home. It's okay. It's okay.
Here I am yapping away while I'm on mute. Excuse me. Jesus. But no, that scene still gets you, doesn't it? It's just phenomenal acting from Scott McCord and from Robert Joy as well. Like I know we always talk about how good of an actor Scott McCord is, and of course he very well is. I think he's the strongest actor on the show, right up there with Harold Perrineau. But I also want to give Robert Joy his props as well, who plays Henry, Victor's father. He's a phenomenal actor and such a veteran. I mean, he's been in so many movies, countless movies over the last 40, 50 years. The guy's, super veteran. He's been in the business, forever. And you can just tell he's just one of those actors who is very capable of kind of stepping into any role. He's very much a chameleon like that. He can really play any kind of role. And Robert Joy has played, you name it, he's played it. Yes, he hasn't been a leading man in a bunch of films, but he's definitely had a lot of supporting roles in tons of films over the years, and he really is capable of playing just about anything. So again, as great as Scott McCord is, you got to have a good partner in your scene as well. You got to have good chemistry with the actor across from you. And Robert Joy was just a phenomenal casting to play Victor's father. Those two, they work so well together on screen, I feel. Man, good stuff. Good stuff. But yes, what were some of your favorite Victor scenes, guys? What Victor scenes hit you the most? Now, again, it could be any Victor scene you want, whether it's season 1, season 2, season 3, doesn't matter. That's right, Xavier. It was Ben Stiller. I remember reading that. Now that you say that, thank you for jogging my memory. That's right. Ben Stiller was behind Severance. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, again, it's a very smart show. It really is a very smart show. Like I have to imagine he didn't come up with it himself. Maybe he did though. Maybe he did. Maybe Ben Stiller is a little bit smarter than we originally thought. But yeah, I mean, it's just such a freaking smart show. And I'm only a few in, but really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying Severance, and we will definitely be covering that when season 2 comes around. 100%. We'll definitely be doing some Severance videos for sure. And yeah, I have heard other people say that it's really a long Black Mirror episode, like it's similar to Black Mirror. I've heard that comparison for sure. I can talk From forever. Me too, PM, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like From, there's so much to talk about that I genuinely never get bored talking about the show, especially after how season 3 ended and all of the new stuff that we have to chew on, all of the new ideas and directions that we can kind of theory craft going forward. Yeah, I mean, From's one of those shows that me personally, I can talk about it all year round and never get bored. So as long as people want to talk about From, we'll definitely continue to do From streams and From content. As long as you guys want them, I am totally fine with that. I definitely never get bored talking about good old From. All right, let's see what you guys, some of your favorite Victor scenes. Giles says, my favorite Victor scene is him roasting Sarah on her basement for 6 minutes straight. That was a good scene, Giles, actually. Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing with Victor. It's not, yes, he has tons of scenes that are, really gut-wrenching, and they're kind of, they kind of hit you in the feels every once in a while. But Victor also has a ton of scenes that are just straight up hilarious, just freaking funny. And that was one of them. That was definitely one of them, where he's just kind of going off on Sarah because she's not using this freaking puppet right. Great. Just classic Victor moment. Classic Victor moment. Yeah, same scene, says All City. Yeah, really good one, wasn't it? Yeah, the Victor Henry reunion. It's that one will live in From infamy. probably forever. Like, I imagine that's going to be a Victor scene that everybody remembers for a while. I also really like this Victor scene too.
You know, Victor, if you keep coming down here, one of these days, we'll make you stay.
Go! Go, go, go!
Love that one. Always love that Victor scene. You know, Victor, you keep coming down here. One of these days, we're gonna make you stay. Super creepy. I like it when he tells Ethan that crutches aren't crutches aren't proper for a quest, and he needs a wizard like a walking stick. That was a good one as well, Susie. Yeah, yeah. What did he say? Crutches are for hospitals, and he just chucks it. That was a good one. That was definitely a good one for sure. Anyone else thinking about when everyone was wiped out? Only Victor was left. Newcomers just had weird Victor to explain what was going on. Yeah, imagine how weird that must have been. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and that's something I don't really often think of, but it really is an interesting aspect, though, because, yeah, like you said, after the freaking massacre, all that's left here is Victor. Victor and, presumably maybe Eloise running out there if she's still alive. Again, I'm still not 100% buying that Eloise is dead, but again, that's just me. Until I actually see the scene of her getting killed, I'm still on the fence as to whether or not Eloise is actually dead or alive. But yes, one thing we do know, Victor was left alone here for a very long time. So I can only imagine how awkward that must have been for people arriving after Victor. Like you said, they show up into this nightmarish landscape of a town, and there's nothing but Victor holding his lunchbox. Like what the fuck? Like, and how does Victor explain what's going on to these people? I imagine he's so traumatized at that point where the massacres, had just happened. He's been alone for Lord knows how long. Like, I imagine how traumatized he must have been to the point where maybe he even hid. Like, I wouldn't be too surprised if the first few arrivals after the massacre, I wouldn't be surprised if they arrived and Victor purposely hid from them. If Victor purposely avoided human contact because he was so traumatized, and maybe that led to a lot of them getting killed. Who knows? But yeah, it's certainly an interesting and very awkward circumstance to know that when you're arriving here in Fromville, there's nothing but young Victor waiting to greet you. Eesh. Eesh. And no talismans back then either. So it just makes things 10 times more dangerous, really. So that's a good point. That's a very good point. Victor is my number 2. I'm not very happy with Boyd right now for what he did to Elgin. Poor Elgin did not deserve what he got. And honestly, that's going to be a very interesting aspect heading into season 4. And I mean, regardless of whether or not Elgin deserved it, I don't know if he deserved it either. I mean, I get why Boyd did it. I understand the time crunch that Boyd was up against. But at the end of the day, Elgin was kind of in the same situation as Sarah, where he was being manipulated. He was a nice, innocent kid that was manipulated. Unfortunately, he still thought that he was doing good right up until the point where Fatima gave birth. Elgin still thought that he was doing the right thing. So yeah, he was an innocent kid that fell victim to this place, just like Sarah did. And again, one could even argue that Sarah's situation was way worse. Sarah was going around actually killing people. Elgin didn't hurt anybody, really. I mean, yes, he kidnapped Fatima, but he didn't hurt anybody, really. So yeah, I can understand the argument for Elgin, quote unquote, not deserving this. But Boyd, I think Boyd's going to be in a very precarious place in season 4, and I think he's going to have a lot of internalized guilt that he's going to be dealing with, for this and for 100 other things that happen in season 3. That's one of my favorite aspects of especially the beginning of season 3, the first half of it anyway. The psychological torment that these characters were going through. Boyd in particular, this place was doing everything in its power to physically, emotionally, spiritually just break Boyd down. And looking at the season finale, looking at how far Boyd has come, you start to wonder if Father Cautry was right. Is Boyd broken? Did this place actually successfully break Boyd? And I think one could easily make an argument yeah, Boyd definitely was broken by this place. Season one, Boyd never would have done this, I don't think. I think Boyd is in a much kind of desperate place here at the end of season three than he ever has been at any other point in the show. I mean, maybe the only time you can compare what Boyd's mental state at the end of season three. The only other thing that comes even close to him experiencing that mental state was probably when he had to kill his wife. That was probably the most traumatic moment he's ever gone through and maybe ever will go through. But he recovered. You could definitely tell he recovered from that. He was starting to become himself again. He was taking care of the town. He even patched up his relationship with Ellis. He recovered from the death of his wife. And then season three came around, and Boyd was just dragged down to rock bottom with all of this psychological torment that they put him through. Leading up to this moment, Boyd was broken down a little bit more each time. Every single episode, every single week, just a little bit more was chipped away from Boyd, to the point where he gets to the season three finale, and he's in a state mentally where he doesn't mind torturing a teenage kid. And I say teenage. I know we don't really know how old Elgin is, but just based on his manner, based on how he acts, based on his character, I imagine Elgin's probably right around 18, 19 or so. I don't imagine he's much older than that. So I do probably think Elgin is maybe still a teenager. And we got Boyd here literally torturing a teenager. Now, yes, of course, he was doing it for his family. And that's one thing I've always admired about Boyd ever since season one. One thing he's always been very clear on: a man protects his family. And he will, again, it's one thing that I like about his character. He is willing to cross that line if it means protecting his family. Because I imagine I probably would too. I mean, if I was put in a similar situation where I had to, cross some kind of morally gray line to save my family, I don't think I'd second guess it at all. I think I would easily cross that line if it meant saving my family and saving my loved ones. I think a lot of people would cross that line at the end of the day. Even those that say they wouldn't to themselves might actually do it when they're faced with that choice. I mean, I guess it all depends on what family means to you. I mean, I know family means something different to everybody, but yeah, for me, family is super important. I mean, it's everything. So yeah, if put in Boyd's shoes, I can't judge him too harshly, because I imagine I would do some morally questionable things to protect my family too if I had to. Again, as many people would. But this is going to be a very interesting aspect going into season four, to see how much guilt Boyd is going to be dealing with and how he deals with that guilt. Will he be able to handle it? Will Boyd be able to kind of pull himself out of this rut that I believe he will be in? This moment right here is going to haunt him. Like, as strong as Boyd is, and as capable as he is as compartmentalizing his emotions and kind of putting things aside, this moment right here, I will be very surprised if this moment doesn't haunt Boyd in season four, like a lot. Because again, that's who Boyd is. He is a morally strong person. He has a very strong moral compass. He always is trying to do the right thing, not just for himself, but for everybody. And in this moment, he completely kind of threw that out the window and only did the selfish thing that suited him and his family. And again, I totally get why he did it. I mean, who wouldn't cross some lines to protect their family? Again. But again, knowing that Boyd does have that strong moral compass, even though he's in this moment right now, this is going to be something that's Boyd is going to be dealing with a lot in season four. He's going to feel a lot of guilt for this moment right here, smashing Elgin's hand the way he did, especially considering the conversation that Father Cautry has with him ahead of time, where Father Cautry is straight up warning him, you do this, it means this place is won. Man, and again, I love seeing these scenes with Boyd and Father Cautry. I feel like along with Scott McCord, obviously Harold Perrineau is just a phenomenal freaking actor. The guy absolutely kills every scene that he's in. I've never seen a weak scene from Harold Perrineau at all in this entire series. And same thing with Sean Majumder, who plays Father Cautry as well. I love that they keep bringing Father Cautry back because the chemistry that Boyd and Cautry have on screen, it really is palpable. Like you can tell that they were really good friends. Boyd really leaned on Father Cautry when he was alive to kind of help keep that moral compass straight, to be that kind of guiding and that voice on his shoulder to kind of tell him which side is the path to take, kind of thing. He very much relied on Cautry in moments like that. So I love how they're continuing that theme even after Cautry is dead and gone. 2 seasons later, they're still bringing him back for some of the best scenes that are in the show. So I hope that continues. I like the aspect, the little dynamic between Boyd and Cautry. It's actually very interesting for me personally. And it's just really fun to see really good actors, just very good in their roles, kill it and have a really good scene together. But this was an interesting one because, again, I think Boyd is going to be dealing with a lot of guilt in season 4. And I think this is going to be a huge catalyst of that guilt. The second he brought that hammer down on Elgin's hand, he crossed that line that I imagine Boyd probably thought he would never cross. Because he does have that very strong, moral center. But this is going to be fun to see Boyd in season 4. How is he going to deal with all of this craziness, and how is he going to deal with the guilt that I imagine he's going to be feeling for not only this, but for everything else that happens in season 3. We also got 5 gifted memberships from the awesome Kiwi Skirt. Thank you so much, Kiwi, for the gift of the 5 memberships. Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 memberships gifted. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It looks like Chanel is now a member. Disney Sucks Ass is now a member. Kristen Gallo is now a member. Louise is now a member. And Jazane is now a member as well. Welcome one, welcome all. So glad to have each and every one of you. Oh, and Fitch9 is also now a member. Welcome one, welcome all. So glad to have each and every one of you here. And of course, for all of the members, we have a bunch of all brand spanking new Fromville emojis for you to use at your leisure. I very much am in favor of the man in yellow emoji. I really like that one. But welcome one, welcome all. And thank you so much, Kiwi, for the gift of the 5 memberships. And yeah, Stephanie knows what that means. I owe you a whoa. A whoa indeed. Thank you so much, Kiwi Skirt. Kiwi's been another one who's just been incredibly supportive of everything that we've done here on the channel. And thank you again so much, Kiwi, for hosting all of the Fromville watch parties that we did this year. We did our Fromville watch parties every single Sunday night, and Kiwi Skirt was right there every single week playing those episodes for us, running them in the Discord so everybody could watch them. So thank you so much, Kiwi, for everything you do. You really are the absolute best. A rock star, in my opinion. Absolute rock star. All right, let's get back to the Victor thing. What were your favorite Victor scenes? Again, that was a really good question. 88 Key says, I love Victor giving Sarah the harsh truths. Again, it was good. Victor and Sarah had a lot of really good scenes this season, I feel. Especially the episode of them leading up to the reunion between Victor and Henry, where Henry and Victor both were very hesitant. It seems like they were both very scared to meet one another. I mean, you can imagine why. I mean, everything that they went through, all the time that had passed between them. They are 2 totally different people now, as opposed to the people they were when they last were parted. So I feel like Sarah played a very vital role in convincing Victor to go see his father. Because at first, Victor didn't want to do it until we get that really good scene between Victor and Sarah in the car graveyard, where Sarah is kind of laying it out to Victor and just straight up telling him, like, hey, you're afraid to meet your father. You're afraid that you're not the son that he remembers. I imagine he feels the exact same way. And we find out that Henry does kind of feel the exact same way. Henry was afraid that, he let his son down, that he wasn't worthy. So both of those characters were very much feeling it before they went to have that reunion. And again, Sarah giving Victor that nudge that he probably needed to hear, and which gave him the kind of courage to go see Henry in the first place. Great scene, absolutely great scene. Victor and Sarah had some really good scenes in season 3. And I hope that they get some more. One that just had me dying too. It was just absolutely fucking hilarious. Was the scene when Victor tells Sarah, when Victor comes to Sarah's house, and a lot of us were wondering, like, why does Victor come to Sarah's house of all places? Like, this is right after Victor digs up the suitcase, and we're all wondering what's in the suitcase, what's going on, why is he taking the suitcase to Sarah's house of all people? And then when we find out that there's just stuff in the suitcase that he's going to use to try and uncover memories, and how scared he is to do that, that he goes to Sarah of all people, because he feels Sarah is the scariest person in town. So if this doesn't scare her, it's just the funniest thing. I mean, in the way that Victor is so childlike in his delivery of his dialogue, where he doesn't really kind of sugarcoat anything. He doesn't pull any punches. He just straight up says, "You're the scariest thing in town, so it won't scare you." It's just, I love his delivery of things. Like, Scott McCord really is good as Victor. But no, really good scenes between Victor and Sarah in season 3. I really enjoyed them. I still cry every time I see it. I'm sorry, Kiwi. It is a good scene. And Sarah says, "I don't want to talk about it." Hey, there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones. And this as well, PM, or the puppet interrogation. Love that. I love that freaking scene at the beginning of that episode. "I know you can talk. I know you can talk." And he's like pushing it and shit. That was a good one. That was a really good one. I'm not crying. You're crying. We're all crying. We're all crying, Susie. Everybody's tearing up. Everybody's crying. Sorry, guys. Did that scene tug at the heartstrings? Well, I am terribly sorry, and I guess I certainly shouldn't play it again.
It's okay. Everything's okay.
Know how to get home. I didn't know how to get home. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's them damn allergies, right? It's those freaking damn allergies. It's okay. Everything's okay. Again, just phenomenal acting. Damn allergies. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, really good. Again, it's the Victor scenes are good. Muted. Sorry, Kiwi. Oh man. NPM. Sorry, guys. Good stuff. Good stuff. And yes, he should have, Stephanie. I mean, it's a damn crying shame at this point that Victor and Scott McCord continues to get snubbed every freaking year. Gotta love it. Gotta not love it, I should say. And yes, Henry is amazing too. He is very good. I thought we were going to try and break Victor with Henry in season 3, but he held it together in his own way. He did. I mean, I was very much wondering where this was going to go. When Henry did kind of get introduced onto the show, and then even further how he kind of comes into Fromville with Tabitha, I was wondering where this storyline is going to go. Part of me wasn't expecting Henry to make it past season 3, to be honest. I had a feeling that they were going to have this heartfelt reunion, and then boom, Henry was going to get killed right afterwards. Like, it just would have been so tragic and so heartbreaking. And I get the feeling that's where this storyline is heading. Again, I'll be very surprised if Henry makes it out of season 4. I have the feeling we're heading for tragedy here. I don't want that to be the case, but something in my gut just tells me Henry's going to die a horrific death, probably saving Victor. And I think that's going to send Victor over the edge in terms of even more trauma that he has to deal with. But again, just a gut feeling. I'm very worried for Henry's longevity. But great actor, great scenes, and really good stuff. Just great scenes every time these two are together. In my humble opinion, I disagree, and it seems that all of Boyd's decisions, including killing Smiley, seem to have negative consequences. Oh no, I agree with that. I was pretty much saying the same thing. All of his decisions were incredibly impactful, and I think we're seeing the negative impacts of that. And I think season 4 in particular, we're going to see how much this is affecting Boyd. Maybe he was already broken when he killed Abby, and he was one of the original reincarnations. I've been wondering that as well, Robert. Like, where does Boyd fit into all of this? We know now that we know that Tabitha and Jade are two of the original parents. That's what I've been wondering too. How many other characters are also reincarnations of that original timeline? And again, Boyd in particular, Boyd has been kind of one of the main, not one of, pretty much the main character, like the main focal point of the show. Other than the Matthews family, it's Boyd. Boyd is the main character. So now that we're getting this revelation of how Tabitha and Jade are just incredibly important, probably the most important to the story overall, now that we have learned this revelation, I have been wondering, where does that put Boyd? What is Boyd's role in all of this? Is Boyd a reincarnation of somebody from that original timeline? Was his wife Abby maybe a reincarnation from somebody in that original timeline, which I've also been wondering? I mean, I know a lot of us remember the very strange line we get from Abby in season 1, when she's looking down the street of Fromville, and she's got that kind of 1,000-yard stare on her eyes, and you can already kind of see the madness kind of seeping into her a little bit. But she says a quick little throwaway line that might not be as throwaway as it appears, where she where she is seeing something that reminds her of a dream she had as a child. Now, does that mean she had dreams of Fromville as a kid? I don't know. The show certainly hasn't confirmed that. But could that have been a hint or an indication that maybe Abby was a reincarnation of somebody else from that original timeline? But either way, yes, Robert, I'm wondering, like, what exactly is going on with Boyd? What is his role going to be in all of this going forward? And again, is he a potential reincarnation of one of the originals? I don't know, but I'm definitely looking forward to finding out, because it seems like, again, apart from the Matthews family, this whole show seems to be built around Boyd. So I imagine he has to have a very important role. If he wasn't one of the original reincarnations, he's got to have some kind of heavy importance as to why he's here and why the monsters have such a vested interest in him. I mean, and that's one thing I also wonder. How much do the monsters know? Now that we know that Jade and Tabitha found out that they were, reincarnations of the original, I wonder how much the monsters knew. Did the monsters know that the whole time? And do the monsters maybe know a little bit more about other potential people that are reincarnations of the original timeline? Why do they have such a vested interest in Boyd? Is it just because he said that one line of "this place can't break me"? Did the monsters really get that butthurt when they heard Boyd say that they went this hard to try and break him this season? I mean, yeah, I suppose it's possible, but I feel like there's something deeper there, something else that hasn't been revealed yet as to why the monsters were so invested in breaking Boyd down. Something tells me it's more than just that line that Boyd says at the end of season 2. I mean, it seems like it's too surface. It seems like there's something deeper there that just hasn't been revealed to us yet. But no, that's a very good question, Robert, in terms of what is Boyd's role? What is his role going to be going forward? And is Boyd a reincarnation of one of the original timelines, of one of the original people in the original timeline? And I guess I'll ask you guys in the chat that as well. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Boyd is also a reincarnation of one of the original timeline. I mean, I imagine he's not a reincarnation of one of the original parents. It seems like all of the parents got turned into monsters, with the exception of Jade and Tabitha. But that's not to say that there can't be reincarnations of other people that were around during that timeline. So I don't think Boyd is a reincarnation of one of the parents per se, but maybe he could be a reincarnation of a different character type or a different archetype that was around back then. Maybe there was a sheriff of the town back then during the original timeline that tried to stop all this. Maybe Boyd is a reincarnation of that character, for all we know. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think Boyd is a reincarnation of a previous character, or do you think Boyd has a different role that he's going to be playing? Because, yeah, Robert, I go back and forth on that myself, wondering, like, just what exactly is up with Boyd, and is he a reincarnation? I don't know. I truly don't know. I feel like up until this point, we don't really have any evidence that he is a reincarnation. Any theories that we make are really kind of just theories based on the most limited circumstantial evidence. We don't really have anything concrete, anything definitive to really point to that tells us Boyd is a reincarnation. We just don't have that evidence yet. But that's not to say he isn't. That's certainly not to say it's not possible. We just haven't seen any evidence of it yet. But who knows? Who knows? What do you guys think? Victor pulling out the gun on Randall. Don't know Victor was gangster like that. Yes, that Hollywood Pineapple. That was another really good Victor scene. Yeah, he was not about to let freaking Randall steal his best friends go. And that's what I loved about that scene. Yes, it's Victor pulling out a gun and it's kind of funny and all that, but ultimately this is Victor protecting his best friend. I mean, him and Ethan are best friends at that point. You got to remember, I mean, I don't think we have to remember. I think everybody here obviously knows, Victor still is a child, deep down. He still is that kind of 10-year-old kid. So him and Ethan are best friends. Ethan's his only friend in town. So that's what I loved about that scene. Yes, it was pretty funny to see Victor pull a gun, but when you look at some of the deeper meanings, that this is Victor just trying to protect his friend, trying to protect his friend's favorite goat. It was very heartfelt in that moment, in that regard. But yeah, really good scene when you see Victor just pull out that freaking snub nose. And yeah, dude, Henry actor is really good. It's auto. He's so good, isn't he? Like, he really is. I cannot praise Robert Joy's performance enough as Henry. Really, really good. And yes, they work absolutely great together. Henry actor is great. I love him, and they just fit well together. Some actors just have good on-screen chemistry, and they just do good scenes together. Some people just work well off of each other, and I think that's why Boyd and Father Cautry have really good scenes too, because Harold Perrineau and Sean Majumder also seem to have that same kind of really good working relationship where they just work well together. So yeah, some actors and actresses just they just have good chemistry on screen, and it makes for really good scenes. Really good scenes. He really does have chemistry with everyone, even the puppet. A little bit. Yeah. All the Victor scenes were great. They really were. Henry reminds me of Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson never gets the recognition. That's interesting. Yeah, and that's actually a good point, because, like I said, we're always praising Scott McCord's performance, and rightfully so. Don't get me wrong. We praise it because he is that good. But yeah, we also got to remember how good Henry is as well, and how good Robert Joy is as Henry. He's just as good an actor, I would say. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got. I used to hate it, but having watched it more times, I also think the scene where he takes Jade to the car graveyard, yeah, that's a good one as well. Yeah, I like that, because it's one of the first times we actually get to see Victor really let that wall down a little bit and reach out to somebody else. And it's crazy that it's Jade, of all people, that he is reaching out to. So yeah, that's another really good one, because not only that, we also see a really good human side of Jade as well, where Jade is just, I know, yes, Jade's doing it because he wants answers, but Jade also does have a heart, deep down there as well. Jade is a good person. So yeah, it was a good scene. I love Victor yelling at Sarah while she's ventriloquisting. Hysteria. It was good, man. Like, and those are the performances by Scott McCord that I do really enjoy. He can just, even if it's just him yelling at Sarah because she's not using a freaking puppet right, the guy is just such a good actor. So freaking good. When he tried to save Tabitha in the tunnels and had to be brave, yes, that's another really good one too. That's another good one. Jade and that was another thing. Victor and Tabitha, they also had a lot of really good scenes together, in terms of just having that good on-screen chemistry. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, great. Again, awesome suggestions, guys. Awesome picks, I should say, because again, Victor did have just some really good scenes. You can't beat the Victor Henry union. Honestly, for me, if I had to pick one favorite Victor scene, yes, it would be that one. That's probably my favorite overall scene of Victor and Henry. That reunion scene was just, it was so well written, it was so well filmed, so well acted. Like it just, that scene just came together perfectly on all levels to be as good as it was. But if there was one scene that I could say that's almost as good as the reunion scene, it's this scene. This is probably my second favorite Victor and Henry scene. Ah, man, great scene. Absolutely great scene. And this is what I say, not only is the phenomenal acting, really on point, but I got to hand it to the writing as well. John Griffin and whatever team of writers that he works with, they really, really crafted some good scenes in season 3. Some scenes that were just incredibly high intensity scenes, like we saw how the season 3 started with the death of Tien Chen, the scene in the barn, the phenomenal performance of Harold Perrineau, just seeing the shock and the dread and the horror on his face as he's forced to watch Tien Chen die. From scenes like that to scenes that were just really, really heartfelt, like this and all the other really good Victor scenes that we got this season. Like, I know I praise a lot of the actors all the time, and again, for good reason, because they absolutely killed it this year. But I also want to, remember to praise the writing every once in a while as well, because they killed it in season 3. Some of these scenes were just so well written and executed to near perfection. Some of these scenes. So yeah, I cannot hand it to season 3 enough. They killed it. They absolutely killed it. Awesome stuff. But yeah, here we go, guys. We are getting closer and closer now. It is almost midnight. Yeah, that's right, Amy. Jeremy out here trying to make us cry, laugh out loud, joking. Me? No way.
What are the bottles for?
I'm going into the tunnels. I'm gonna find those things. And I'm gonna burn every last fucking one of them.
Okay.
Okay, what?
Okay, let's do it. Let's go.
Victor and Tabitha said they're everywhere down there.
Yeah, Jade went down there. Clearly saw some disturbing shit. What he didn't see, creatures. Not a single one.
There's the one thing I do know. This is how they want us. Angry. I also know this. Hey, if we find them, there's a good chance we are not coming back. But if this is what you want to do, I will go with you, side by side, and we will take out as many of those motherfuckers as we can.
And how alone she must have felt.
Hey. She wasn't alone. It made me watch. Hey. She was strong, Kenny. She was strong. Listen to me. She was brave. She looked at me and she did not take her eyes off me. Before she died, she said, Oho chuguko yiga takochi gela. No, I don't even know if I'm saying this right.
Take care And that's what it means. Take care of him. He'll be alone now.
Come here, man. Come here. It's okay. I got you, bro. Hey, let's go back, okay?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There really were, right? There were some just phenomenal scenes in season 3. I know there were some episodes, there towards the middle that got a little bit slower for people. I totally understand that. But every once in a while you have to have episodes like that. You have to have episodes that slow down a little bit and set some new storylines up or some new story points up at least for the future episodes. And for me personally, I loved season 3. I loved just about every minute of it. Yes, obviously some episodes I liked more than others, but even in the quote unquote slower episodes, there were still just phenomenal scenes littered throughout every single episode that we got this season. So overall, I thought this season was incredibly strong. It was season 1's still probably my favorite, but I definitely like season 3 more than I like season 2. Not that I don't like season 2. Season 2 was strong as well, but season 2 is probably my least favorite out of 3, just considering how well 1 and 3 are. They're just so good. But overall, phenomenal season of From. I think, and as someone said in the chat, Xavier, my friend, my good pal Xavier, From is truly a great show. Please don't F it up. That's kind of my mindset as well. I feel like this show is so good. It's going so well. I don't want to see anything screw this show up and ruin it. And I don't think it will. I don't think they will, personally. It seems like they got a really good team in place in terms of everything that they're doing. Everyone that's in charge of the show, from the casting, the directing, the writing. It seems like they have a really, really good team. So I am super excited for the future of the show. I think it's heading into a very, very interesting place. The way season 3 ended with giving us some really, really big answers, like huge answers that some of which I didn't think we would get until the very end of the season. Like the origin for the monsters, I definitely did not have that on my bingo card for season 3. I definitely thought that would be a later season 5, season 6 kind of thing, maybe. I certainly was not thinking that we would get the full origin, not full, but I didn't think we would get the origin of how the monsters were created this season. So we got some definitive stuff, some big answers that we've been waiting a very long time for, while also setting up some insane new mysteries for season 4 and beyond, not the least of which is the mysterious and dangerous man in yellow. So overall, I thought season 3 was a phenomenal scene, and heading into season 4, I cannot wait to see some of these storylines play out. Again, I am also working on a video right now that is breaking down all of the storylines that we can potentially see in season 4 and where I think some of them might go. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to probably get that uploaded onto the channel tomorrow morning. Where we have a nice season 4 preview, not a preview, but just where I think some of these storylines are going. And overall, it should be fun to see. Boyd, I think he's going to have a very tough time in season 4. I think he's going to be dealing with a ton of guilt from some of the things that he did this season. So it should be interesting to see. Did Fromville really break Boyd? Is Boyd truly broken? Or will he be able to recover, and will he be able to pull himself out of this rut that I definitely think he will be in during season 4? But that is going to do it for us tonight. If we look now, it is midnight Eastern Standard Time, which means the Shogun watch party is starting, ladies and gentlemen. That is right. Now that From is over, we are looking back at some of our other favorite shows that we have covered here on the channel and elsewhere. And Shogun Season 1 is, in my opinion, the best show of 2024. I would put From Season 3 a very close second. And even though From is my favorite show, I do believe Shogun Season 1 was the best show of 2024. It was that good. So we are going to be diving in and doing a complete rewatch of all things Shogun. And of course, we will be continuing our From rewatch parties as well. Tomorrow night, right here on the channel, we will be doing Season 1, Episode 3 and 4 of From, as we continue that From watch party to see what other kind of new mysteries, new Easter eggs, new clues that we might be able to pick up on now that we do have the added context of seeing Season 3 and getting all of these definitive big answers. I imagine we are going to find a ton of interesting stuff that we didn't even know to look for during Season 1 and 2 during this rewatch. So tomorrow night, come back and hang out with us. We will be diving into Episode 3 and 4 of Season 1 of From. And tonight, right now, as soon as I end this stream, head on over to Discord and join the Shogun watch party. We will be watching Episode 1 and 2 of Shogun tonight, starting right now. There is the link right there in the chat. Thank you so much, Kiwi, for dropping the link, and I didn't see that you dropped it, so I threw a double one in. So you can use either one of those links, and that will take you directly into the Discord, where the Shogun Season 1 watch party is going to be starting. And again, even if samurais aren't your thing, even if you just like good storytelling and good acting and good writing, Shogun is a show that I believe everybody should watch at least once. It really is that freaking good. But without further ado, big thank you to each and every one of you. Oh, we got one more from Wall Saint Tech before we close things out for 234. This is an ancient perimeter spell gone funny. Maybe that's what it is at the end of the day. Maybe there is just one giant under the dome spell gone wrong, and that is what we are dealing with Fromville. That is definitely possible. But thank you, each and every one of you, for joining us tonight. And BK is signaling me the watch party is ready. So everybody, I would highly recommend heading on over into the Discord. We are going to go watch Shogun Season 1, Episodes 1 and 2, and you guys are in for a wild ride if you do choose to join us on the Shogun watch parties. I promise you, this show is so freaking good, and you will not regret it. That is my opinion anyway. Really phenomenal show. But again, big thank you to each and every one of you for all of the support you guys have shown us. And we will be live again, of course, tomorrow for the continuation of our From watch parties as we dive into Episodes 3 and 4. And until next time, stay safe out there, guys, in this crazy world. Keep those tinfoil hats on. Don't be afraid to dive into that rabbit hole. And we will see you on the next one.